In this video we are going to discuss about the duties of an employer towards his employees and the duties of employee towards his employer. Employment law in Malaysia is primarily governed by the Employment Act 1955, which governs employment relations for workers in Malaysia.
It sets out the rights and obligations of employers and employees in the private sector.
What does it mean by an employer or employee?
Employer can be defined as any person who has entered into a contract of service to employ another person, as an employee includes the agent, manager, or factor. Furthermore, employee can be defined as any person or class of persons or someone who's hired to do a particular job for pay.
Duties of employers under the Employment Act 1955. There are 8 duties of employers under the Employment Act 1955, including payment of wages, provision of a safe work environment, issuance of employment contract, granting of leave, overtime payment, termination of employment, compliance with labor laws, and provide medical benefits. Duties of employees under the Employment Act 1955. There are 5 duties of employees under the Employment Act 1955, including adherence to work rules and regulations, duty to perform work, duty of loyalty and good faith, duty to report absences, and duty to protect employer's property.
We already discussed about the duty of employer and employee. Now, what is the rights of employee under the Employment Act 1955?
Right of employees under the Employment Act 1955.
In this case, Gotham and Thevar lodge a report against JSA Resources SDN BHD regarding the constructive dismissal because the respondent had failed to pay for his wages.
This is Kotaman Thevar.
He was constructively dismissed by JSAE Resources SDN BHD due to the company failing to pay his salary and the managing director physically assaulting him when he asked for his overdue wages. Gothaman was hired as an operations executive at JSAE Resources SDN BHD. His monthly salary was RM3000, with an additional RM600 for allowances. This is S. Mahindran, the managing director at JSAE Resources SDN BHD. Gothaman's salary was not paid by the company. Gothaman's left the company. Gothaman asked the managing director, S. Mahindran, about his unpaid salary. Mahindran dared Gothaman to report the issue to the authorities instead of addressing it. Mahindran went to Gothaman's house.
Open the door!
There, Mahindran pushed and punched Gothaman in the chest. Gothaman reported the assault and trespassing to the police. However, no action was taken by the police. Gothaman filed a case for constructive dismissal in the industrial court. JSAE Resources did not send a representative, so the court heard Gothaman's case without opposition. The court found that Failing to pay salaries and expenses is a serious breach of the employment contract. Assaulting an employee is unacceptable and breaks the trust in the employer-employee relationship. Gothaman was awarded Rm 43,200 in back wages, equivalent to 12 months' salary, as compensation. The court decided not to reinstate him for safety reasons.
According to S20 of the Industrial Relations Act 1967, workers at all levels in the private sector who have been dismissed allowed to claim for reinstatement. Reinstatement is where the employee is given his original job back without loss of any benefits or privileges, meaning that he is entitled not only to return to his work, but also to receive back wages from the time of his dismissal up to the date of the court decision.
The issue in this case is whether Leong Chin Kum can claim against Selco Shipyard PTA Limited because of the employer did not provide safe system of work or for breach of the duty of care.
This is Leong Chin Kum, the plaintiff, widow of the deceased. She brought an action against the defendants for breach of statutory duty to take reasonable care for the safety of worker. It was alleged that the deceased's death was caused due to negligence of the defendants and their servants. On the day of accident, there were some workers preparing to open the manhole of the center tank number 5. The deceased was there to direct the workers in their work.
When the manhole was open, the deceased and other employee entered into the tank. After some time, the deceased was found lying inside the tank. The court held that the employers were not in breach of statutory duty and the breach caused or materially contributed to the death of the deceased. The deceased was a very experienced project supervisor. He knew that he needed clearance of the safety promoter, and that a powered blower was necessary to ventilate the tank. He willfully entered the tank ignoring all the safety procedures. If an employee willfully ignores all the safety procedures, the employer is not liable for not providing safe system of work or for breach of the duty of care.
That's all from us, thank you.